Hello everyone. Today we are going to explore a fascinating and highly practical branch of public health called operational research, a science that helps us optimize systems, processes, and program performance to bring real change to communities. Let us begin with where this idea came from. The term operational research was coined during the Second World War when scientists were trying to optimize the use of a brand new invention called radar. Decades later, in a landmark consensus in Geneva in the year 2008, experts agreed that operational research is any research that produces practically usable knowledge which can improve the implementation of a program regardless of what type of research method is used. The World Health Organization defines it beautifully as a science for better, describing it as the continuous application of scientific methods of investigation to complex human organizations and services in order to induce beneficial changes. Now, let us understand the seven defining characteristics of operational research. First, it is problem driven, meaning it is born out of specific operational bottlenecks faced in the field. Second, it is program embedded, which means it is conducted within the routine functioning of a health program, not in some isolated laboratory. Third, it is action oriented and demands that findings be immediately translated into program modifications. Fourth, it is time sensitive, requiring rapid turnaround so that real time decisions can be made. Fifth, it is context specific, meaning a solution that works well in one region may completely fail in another. Sixth, it is resource efficient since it typically uses existing program records and staff rather than new expensive infrastructure. And finally, there is what we call the magnifier effect, where modest investments in operational research can yield exponentially scaled improvements in health outcomes for a huge population. To understand where operational research fits into a health program, we use something called the program logic model. Every program has inputs, which are the technical and financial resources put in. These inputs go through processes like training, logistics, and workflow management. This is exactly where operational research intervenes, adjusting the machinery in the middle. This leads to outputs, which are the services actually rendered, followed by outcomes, which reflect behavior change in the target population, and finally, impact, the ultimate long term effect on health. For any health service to succeed, it must satisfy what we call the four A's: accessibility, affordability, availability, and acceptability. Let us now look at the different research approaches used in operational research. One major approach is secondary data analysis. This means leveraging data that is already being generated within programs. Field data is often underutilized, and simply reviewing existing records retrospectively can reveal critical gaps in implementation without the cost of collecting new data. A wonderful example of this is the global shift in tuberculosis diagnosis. Earlier, three sputum smear examinations were required to diagnose pulmonary tuberculosis. Through retrospective review of routine laboratory registers, researchers proved that the third smear added almost no additional diagnostic value, and this evidence led to a global policy change, saving enormous laboratory resources. Operational research also works at the primary level, optimizing programs through four broad study types. Exploratory or diagnostic studies are formative needs assessments that use both qualitative and quantitative methods to understand the extent of a problem before a program is even designed. Field intervention studies are often quasi experimental or cluster randomized trials that test new service delivery options to generate strong evidence on their effectiveness. Evaluative studies, sometimes called monitoring and evaluation, look at both the process, which is monitoring, and the outcome or impact, which is evaluation, often using rapid appraisals to make mid course corrections. And finally, Economic analysis involves costing and cost effectiveness calculations, for example, proving the economic efficiency of a nutritional supplementation program. There are also structured frameworks that guide operational research. One important one is called SOT-IT, which stands for Structured Operational Research and Training Initiative, coordinated by the World Health Organization and its special program for research and training in tropical diseases. It works like a hands on, output based funnel, transforming data poor health systems into data rich, information rich, and action rich environments. And it focuses on training frontline workers in tuberculosis, HIV, and malaria programs to design research, analyze data, and publish actionable findings. Another important framework is called Precede Proceed, which is an ecological backward planning approach. The precede phase identifies desired outcomes first and then works backward to find the behavioral and environmental causes behind them. The proceed phase then handles the actual implementation and evaluation based on those identified causes. To evaluate how well a program is functioning, we also use two more valuable frameworks. The REAEM framework helps us evaluate fidelity and stands for reach, which asks who receives the intervention, effectiveness, which asks does it actually work, adoption, which asks who uses and delivers it, implementation, which asks is it done correctly, and maintenance, which asks does it last over time. On the other hand, the CFIR framework or Consolidated Framework for Implementation Research helps us evaluate context, looking at the outer setting such as policy and economics, the inner setting such as organizational culture, and the implementation process itself. When we actually conduct an operational research project, we generally follow a 7-phase roadmap. It begins with formulation, where we define the specific operational problem. Then comes collection, where we gather relevant routine or sample data. Next is analysis, where we analyze the data and formulate a hypothesis. This is followed by modeling, where we derive potential solutions from that hypothesis. Then comes selection, where we choose the most optimal and resource efficient solution and forecast the expected results. After that is piloting, where we test the chosen solution in a small controlled pilot project. And finally, implementation, where we roll out the optimized solution across the entire system. Operational research is never a one-person job. It requires a multidisciplinary team. At the center is the project director, who is responsible for the overall vision and integration of the project. Supporting this role is the public health administrator, who ensures alignment with policy, routine systems, and resource constraints. The epidemiologist designs the study methodology and tracks the disease impact. The statistician or biostatistician handles the mathematical modeling, data extraction, and quantitative validity. And the social scientist evaluates community acceptability, behavioral factors, and qualitative nuances of the intervention. In practice, operational research helps solve many kinds of operational efficiency challenges. It helps with resource allocation, determining the optimal utilization of manpower, materials, and money in community health services. It helps with personnel optimization, calculating the ideal size of the area and population that a single health worker should cover in order to maximize their technical skill utilization. It helps resolve workflow bottlenecks, such as solving queuing problems in outpatient departments and reducing long hospital waiting lists. And it helps with system integration, finding ways to merge specialized and emergency based services seamlessly back into general health services. The impact of these efforts is tracked using several important categories of metrics. Hospital metrics track things like length of patient stay, sickness absence among staff, and how the architectural design of hospitals affects patient flow. Efficiency metrics involve conducting economic analyses to ensure the lowest possible cost per unit of health gained. Program effectiveness metrics measure the extent to which stated objectives such as malaria eradication or family planning goals are actually being achieved in the field. And quality and epidemic control metrics involve investigating outbreaks of epidemic diseases and continuously assessing the standard of medical care being delivered. Let us look at a few proven case studies that demonstrate the power of operational research. In Gachiroli, Maharashtra, training village health workers in home based neonatal care led to a massive decline in neonatal mortality, and this evidence eventually influenced national health policy. We already discussed the tuberculosis 3 to 2 smear study, which proved that reducing the number of sputum smears did not compromise diagnostic accuracy and saved valuable laboratory resources worldwide. In Delhi, a study under the Employees State Insurance Corporation involved men in maternity care, which significantly improved family planning knowledge at a marginal additional cost of only about $1,000 per dispensary per year. And in Jharkhand and Orissa, a cluster randomized trial evaluated community mobilization through participatory women's groups, resulting in a 32% reduction in the neonatal mortality rate. It is also important to understand how operational research differs from basic research. Basic research aims to generate new scientific knowledge and broad theories, and it is usually conducted in controlled, isolated laboratory settings over a long term theoretical timeline by specialized academic researchers, with the application being scholarly publications and universal truths. Operational research, on the other hand, aims to improve program performance and find the optimal solution to a specific bottleneck. It happens within the messy, real world functioning of the health program itself, over a short, time sensitive, and action oriented timeline carried out by program managers, frontline health workers, and multidisciplinary teams, with the application being immediate program modification and decision support. Finally, let us bring everything together by looking at the full research ecosystem, moving from seed to scale. Picture this as a series of concentric rings. At the very center sits basic research, which we can call the seed. This is where new scientific knowledge, drugs, or vaccines are generated inside controlled laboratory environments. Moving one ring outward, we reach translational research, which we can call the incubator. This is the stage where discoveries are taken from the bench to the bedside in order to prove their clinical efficacy in real human beings. Moving further outward, we reach implementation research, which we can call the diagnostic. This is used to understand why an intervention succeeds or fails in the real world and to diagnose the systemic barriers standing in its way. And finally, forming the outermost and largest ring, we reach operational research, which we can call the daily machinery. This represents the continuous embedded optimization of a program's day to day operations, workflows, and resource allocation to ensure maximum coverage, quality, and equity for the population being served. To summarize, operational research at its core follows a concept where inputs pass through constantly modulating processes to produce outputs, transforming data into action for public health impact. For any health service to succeed, it must be accessible, affordable, available, and acceptable, together known as the 4 A's. The operational DNA of this science rests on 4 traits. It is problem driven, program embedded, action oriented, and time sensitive. And none of this works without a strong multidisciplinary team, bringing together epidemiologists, economists, social scientists, and data analysts to turn evidence into real impact. Thank you for watching. I hope this presentation helped you understand operational research more clearly. If you found this video useful, please like, share, and subscribe for more easy to understand videos on community medicine, public health, and medical education. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video.